Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to mybetterhalf.com. Today here with us is Sister Yasmin, and she's going to share with us just a basic idea of how a woman can go through the phase of being a daughter, a sister, a wife, and then she entered the phase of motherhood. She's now even a grandmother, she's a teacher. So we're just going to get some ideas from her as to how one woman can go through all these journeys with all the various things that may befall upon you, and yet come out happy, content and positive out of all of it. Welcome to our show, Sister Yasmin.
Thank you for bringing me here. Thank you.
Give us an idea on how life has been and how things have been for you so far.
Before I start, I would just like to say Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulihil Kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. As I say that Alhamdulillah, I've gone through all the phases of my life, and I would say that Alhamdulillah, I would consider myself as a happy person, and I have lived a very happy and a contented life. Alhamdulillah, with my husband, with my in-laws, with my children, and now with my grandson, Alhamdulillah, and with my daughter-in-law and son-in-law. So when I look back, Alhamdulillah, I say that I've seen so many people, and those who would be like my friends around me or my family around me, that we have all grown up together. But when I see myself that Alhamdulillah, there were never any complaints or never any issues in my life that I would like to go and discuss with my mother-in-law or father-in-law, or bringing up my parents to solve my issues. But and my husband always think that Alhamdulillah, because he's a very nice person, that there were no problems.
Right.
There were never issues. And now when I tell him, he says, you never told me.
Right.
You never even mentioned it to me that there were things that you were going through. But because Alhamdulillah, because I'll just go through the phases of my life, that when I was 17,
Yes.
I got engaged to my husband.
Okay.
And that time, of course, we were studying, so our marriage was delayed for another 5 years.
Okay.
And I was madly in love with my husband, at that time my fiancé. And because he's cousin to me from
Right.
both the side, from my mother's side and from my father's side.
Alright.
Like two sisters got married to two brothers.
Brothers.
And then they finally decided to get us married. It was a totally arranged marriage, but the engagement was arranged, but the marriage was a very love marriage. But he was studying in USA, and at that time there was not so much of communication.
Okay.
So we will wait for each other letters, or sometimes for a phone call. But the thing is that Alhamdulillah, that time, although it was like a 5 years,
Right.
but I am so grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I did not get married at the age of 17, and I got married at the age of 22.
Why would you say that?
Because that 5 years really prepared me
Okay.
that where I was going,
Okay.
what I'll be dealing to. I got to find out the nature of my husband, and of course they were my family, but when you deal with your family as a mother-in-law, as a father-in-law, then you have to be more respectful, more concerned, and you just got that preparation time.
What would you recommend? There are a lot of young girls who are going to enter marriage, and they must
Yeah,
go
I
through this
think
shit.
the only problem I had, that we should not have been engaged, but we should have at least got the nikah done.
Right.
Because at that time, honestly, we were not religious in a way that we did not know, what are the basic principles that one should follow as a good Muslim.
Right.
But we were just doing it more of a cultural thing, that getting engaged is just the right thing at that time.
Right.
But I think that if I would do, like for my daughter also, I got her nikah done, and then after some time she got the rukhsati. So that whatever time, I think if 3 months, 6 months, that prepare you for that big journey that you are going to do for your lifetime.
Any tips you can give?
Yeah,
young
because I
girls?
think that, I think for the parents mostly,
Okay.
that if they are going to get their, like if they agree that they are going to marry a girl and a boy,
Okay.
they should make it like they can agree upon it rather than getting them engaged.
Yes.
They should get the nikah done, and don't do the rukhsati right now.
Right.
because that 6 months or 3 months really, because what happens is you are not responsible, you don't get the full responsibility, and yet you start to know the person. You can go out with him, you can meet him, and then if there is some things, you can just try to adjust yourself accordingly.
So you can get the advantages of dating in a halal way.
In a halal way. I think it is very, very important, because sometimes, the rishta comes and you just try to, get them married, and everything happens in such a speedy way, and you just get the girl rukhsati, do the rukhsati, and you'd make them go in another environment. So the change of environment, there are a lot of changes then. And the girl has to adjust to, I think it is like bombarded to her. She has to adjust with her in-laws, she has to adjust with her husband, and she has to adjust with the new environment. So I think that it becomes like a lot of burden on a girl. So if it is a gradual journey, it becomes easy for both the parties. Because basically marriage is not between a girl and a boy. It is between two families. You have to bring them together. You have to see because these families are brought up in a different environment. They have their own, way of thinking. So just to bring those two families together, you need some time. So I think that I would really, really recommend that if parents plan for a marriage, they should do the nikah. Because sometimes they do the engagement and then they say that we'll prolong it for 1 year. Then in itself is not a good idea. Because if you are engaged, then then you can break up any time. So there is no legal obligation. So even if you think that there is a legal obligation, then you want to make that marriage work. So marriage, like, you should take time in thinking and considering of two people getting together. And suppose if it is like a girl likes a boy, or a boy, if there is a mutual liking, and the girls, like the girl and a boy, tell their parents that we would like to marry, even then it is better if they can have the nikah and then give them some time and then let them start the journey maybe after 3 months or 6 months. Because that in between time, because my time was a prolonged one. I would not recommend 5 years, but I would say at least 3 to 6 months. You should give to the family and the children to know each other better.
And once you've entered marriage...
Alhamdulillah, then you see that time gave us lot of security in a way that, when I got married, I knew exactly where I'm heading for. And I was totally prepared, and I think that a person go through a lot of changes, like time brings a lot of maturity. All the girls think that it is a fairy tale story. And this is what their dreams are, and they're too naive and they're too simple. And if you just bring them into that marriage thing, it is a lot of burden. So this is not a small obligation or a duty. So if you are a doctor and a wife at the same time, or whatever profession, if you enter your profession and wifehood at the same time, I think you cannot do justice to both. So once if you have become a wife, full time you have to do your wife duty, and that is the basic responsibility which I took as for myself, and which I taught my daughter to do so. And I think that that was a very wise decision. And then she had to start from the scratch. She had to learn to boil rice and to make dal and to do all the daily chores, because she had to go and stay in UK. They had a small apartment and she had to clean. So she didn't hire a maid. She had to do it. And alhamdulillah, her husband helped her out. So it was a very good thing that you need to be domesticated and you need to learn how to get up in the morning to make a breakfast for your husband and how to give him tea or whatever. And the thing is that it was a very good thing, and that was really like her husband accepted, like he was very happy about it. Her in-laws took it very positively that she is getting up for her husband. So one small gesture can go a long way to make an impact. So now, alhamdulillah, like going back to my life, and I was prepared, and my daughter was always, alhamdulillah, she was also mature enough. She was not, like, she had finished her studies, so she was around 24, 25 when she got married. So this is like a time when you can really put up that responsibility on a girl, when she can go on her own, live on her own. She can plan her day, she can plan her life, and she can take a head start. But I think that That doesn't mean that you should not get married, your girls, if they are 20 or 21 or 22. See, Allah has different plans for different people.
You've yourself been in a joint family, as
Alhamdulillah.
we had spoken before.
Alhamdulillah.
And now you're also a mother-in-law.
Yeah.
This has been quite a point of conversation between a lot of communities, or especially the Indo-Pak area, where it's slightly negatively looked upon, this role of a mother-in-law, but at the same time the entire concept of a joint and in-laws family. Why don't you shed some light on that? Why don't you tell us a couple of pros and cons, and how is a girl supposed to deal with if she is in one, and how to maintain those relationships in the best possible way?
You see, Alhamdulillah, as I said, that because I was married in my family, so for me, in-laws or staying with in-laws was not a problem. Right. Like, I really was very happy about it. In a way, it was like coming back home. And I was prepared for it. And like, for me, I think it cannot be an ideal situation better than that. Because on one side, I had my chacha, my father's brother. Right. And on the other hand, I had my khala, my mother's sister. And both of them were younger to my parents. Right. So Alhamdulillah, they had a lot of respect for my parents, and they were very, very, like my father-in-law was very welcoming to me. He would always tell me that you are like he would consider my father as his teacher. Okay. So he would but lot of, so that positivity from my in-laws was like a very welcoming thing. And because I shifted, yeah, it is very good. I think because I shifted from Karachi to Dubai. Okay. And I think that the leadership roles start from the top. Right. It is always the elders that they have to put up the effort, they have to open up their arms, they have to make the other person feel at home. They have to be the welcoming person. So this is something the in-laws family should make a note of. Of course, that is the most important thing. Right. Because you see, the person who is coming to your house, whoever, I think there is a lot of hair in the girls. They are small buds, and they are coming, they are changing their environment. You know, the same way you change a plant from a nursery, and you bring them to your house, and you have to water them, you have to nurture them, you have to take care of them. Yes. Same way, but you have to be very tender, you have to be very, very soft with them. You can't just be, too harsh with them and expect the best of the results. Right. If you water them too much, that is not good. Right. And if you don't put them attention, that is not good. It has to be just the right combination. That does not mean, if I mean that you have to be very welcoming, that you should not discipline them. Right. You see, the thing is that I think my mother-in-law used to say that taking care of the daughter-in-laws is like taking care of the horses. Okay. And I would not understand it at that moment. Yes. And I would say, why would she say this to us? That we are like horses? But if I see here that you have to take so much care of the horses, right. Because then they give you the advantage also. Yes. The loyalty. The loyalty also. True. So the thing is, you cannot ask a person that here you come, you respect me. Right. Right. You have to make them respect you, and the respect comes especially. The thing is that this is a great message that I would want to share with all the mother-in-laws, that you should take care of them like your own daughters. This is something that, now we know that there's a hadith that you should like for others what you like for yourself. Right. So whatever you like for your daughters, you should like for your daughter-in-laws. Okay, this is a simple statement, but I would say the small things that counts the most. And I would say that, even my father, he followed in his house, which really made if I see my mother's house also, that he told my mother that when her older son got married, that you are not going to say anything bad about my daughter-in-law to me. Because that would give me an impression. And what happens is that later on, women, they sort out the things among themselves. Yes. But for the men, they have a certain impression about their daughter-in-law or son-in-law, which they cannot omit, which they cannot erase from their memory. So that the thing best I would say is, that there's a hadith that if you cover the faults of other people,
Yes.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover the
Your
fault
faults.
of your faults on the day of judgment.
Correct.
Now the thing is, if there's a fight between a mother and a daughter, do you think that when the father comes home in the evening, is she going to tell those things to her husband?
Not really.
Not really. She's not going to tell it. She's going to cover it up. But if a mother-in-law is looking up for an excuse or any wrong thing that her daughter-in-law has done,
That's it.
and if she's going to tell her husband, this is what she is going to. She is planting a seed of fasad in her house.
Right.
So I think that mothers or women,
Yes.
women generally, they are a very, very manipulative people on earth. I'm sorry, but this is so true, because men is a very straightforward person.
Right.
Anywhere, they would say 2 + 2 is 4, and that is what they are busy in all their lives. They are, doing business outside, and they have their own problems. But the domestic issues, the domestic politics is handled by the woman. So the main role is either a woman can make her house as heaven,
Yes.
as a paradise, or she can make it hell. But the problem is that when we are talking bad about, suppose about my daughter-in-law, and if I'm telling it to my husband, if I'm telling it to my son, and if I'm creating an issue, the thing is that who's going to be unhappy?
Your
If my son is happy,
Yes.
my son is happy, then I'm not happy. And then I am bringing unhappiness into my house. So the thing is that women, especially, that is what I'm saying, that leadership starts from the top. That I think that, my teacher is Dr. Farhat Hashmi, and Alhamdulillah, she's brought a lot of change in my family. She made us more concerned or more conscious of the, Alhamdulillah, of all the Quran and Sunnah and of our misbehaves and everything. But the thing is that she knows me personally also. But the moment when I said that I'm going to marry my son, she says, now your real test is starting.
Oh.
This is where the real test is.
Right.
The real test is not in being a daughter-in-law or a wife or a mother. Everything you can,
Put aside.
you can manage. But the real test is when you come into that leadership role.
Correct.
When you are sitting on that top seat in the house,
Right.
when you are managing the house,
Right.
and you have people working under you. Being a daughter-in-law is, that you are
Supposed to follow these.
You are supposed to follow.
Right.
You know your position in the house.
Right.
If I am the first daughter-in-law, if I am the second daughter-in-law, I know my position. At that time, mostly it is the acceptance of your position,
Right.
and make yourself happy and comfortable, and enjoy the advantages that you have. Alhamdulillah, I think when you are living in a joint family system, you have got a lot of advantages.
Please say a few.
The lot of advantages is that, Alhamdulillah, for myself at least, I didn't have to cook. And that was a great privilege for me.
Right.
And it is not that, of course, when you are outside, when we used to go for holidays, and when we, usually we'll go out to UK or London, or there we will cook, there we will do the cleaning, there we will do everything, we'll make our beds and we'll do it. But of course, Alhamdulillah, when you are living in a joint family system, you have a cook or a maid, so you should be happy about those advantages. And the most important thing is that you have people around you.
Yes.
You are not depressed, you are not on your own, you are not, you have someone to take care of you. And the thing is that there's someone you can talk to. And of course, Alhamdulillah, if you have a good relationship with them, then you enjoy.
Correct.
If you are on that negative side and you want to live a solo life on your own, believe me, the thing is that the few months maybe you want to live on your own. So, and I think that is the time when you want to go out for holidays with your husband. But after some time, even on holidays, you say, now I'm feeling lonely. Now we want our family. Family is either whether it's a boy side or the girl side. They are the binding force in the marriages. So you should not consider your family as a burden.
Right.
They are the ones who would really help and support you. Even if you have 1,000 friends around you, they might not be as loyal as your family. Even if your family, you think your family cannot be perfect. They might have their own faults or shortcomings. But then the basic thing is that they want the best for you. And this is something in their own respect, they will always help and support you. But that does not mean that the family should start interfering into the lives of their children. You know, the thing is that, alhamdulillah, I think that Islam is such a moderate deen in a way that it takes you out of from the extremes.
Okay.
In Islam, there's not that you should, once, you know, there's culturally in Islam, culturally in Pakistan and India, that once you've got married, only your dead body should come out of it.
So
that is the basic, they would ingrain, and I think that is what culturally our parents were, fed into.
Yes.
That this is it. Now you are married. Now this is it. We have nothing to do, and you go and live your life, and there's no going back, and there's no looking back.
Right.
In one way, it is good.
Right.
But Islam brings you to another aspect. They say that you have your family, they can support you, but that does not mean that you should always keep on looking back that my father has got a house and my father has got money and he can support me, so I don't have to live with my husband.
Right.
And I can always go back.
Yes.
So the thing is that family has to shut down the doors on a girl that you can come to my house but come happily with your husband. I don't want you I don't want you to come with your small issues thinking that I'm going to support you. So the thing is that the moment a girl knows that there is no support for me if I'm going with the complaining or issues, or if I'm going with my always crying and saying that I can't deal with it and you have to help me out. No, you have to deal.
So
you have to make
the parents need to understand.
Yeah, the girl side also, they need to understand that you have to push them till the end, so that, because the main objective is that your plant should adjust in the new environment.
Correct.
That is your basic motto. There is no, and whatever the issues is, the girl has to learn to deal with them.
Right.
You know, my mother, when my mother was, of course, the older sister of my mother-in-law, like they were sisters.
Yes.
When she came to live with, when she would visit us, she would never come and sleep with me alone in my room.
Right.
Although I would want her to come and sleep with me in my room. And at that time, I would not understand. And I would say, why are you not sleeping with me? And later on she would say, because we are not going to talk about anything, but if I will sleep with you, my sister will think that maybe you are talking about her or her family issues with me. And that is not, I don't want my relationship to be spoiled with my sister because of you.
Right.
So she was more concerned of her sister than my small and petty issues.
Right.
So she had drawn that line.
Correct.
And for that, you at that time you say, yeah, my mother is not talking to me, or she is not trying to be alone with me.
Yeah.
And why is it that?
You understand.
But now I understand that is the hikmah. You see, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to teach us sunnah and hikmah. The wisdom is so much important. And I think that our elders, they had a lot of wisdom. Maybe they did not have too many of Islamic understanding of Quran and Sunnah the way we have it now in these days.
Yes.
But their wisdom was far more beyond that.
Right.
And the basic ingredients, I think, is that comes from generation after generation. Like my dadi and my nani, they were like best of friends.
Okay.
And the way they shared their, the way they treated their, the way my dadi treated her bahus and her daughter-in-laws, because my dadi was metric at that time.
Oh.
And all her daughter-in-laws could not even read and write.
Wow.
But then the way she nurtured them,
Right.
and the way she took them. So I think if the house is on fire, the blame goes to the mother-in-law or the mother, not to the husband. Not to the husband, not to the children.
Yes.
It is because you see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a woman the queen of the house. And
it's
men,
forgotten today.
It's
usually understood as the maid of the house nowadays.
No.
So
She becomes the queen not immediately.
Okay.
She has
to note.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, if a girl goes to somebody's house and she thinks she'll be the queen next day,
Yeah.
this is again a misconception. You have to be the queen of the hearts, not queen of the house.
True.
You have to start to to, you need to, जिसे कहते हैं ना, you have to win the heart.
Correct.
If you want to live a life of a queen, then if you start winning the hearts, you are a queen.
True.
You have to rule the hearts of the people. And then at that thing, I think it's not if those people who think that they are very religious in a religious way, that just wearing abaya and shela makes you a religious person. This is a very wrong misconception that is among the people, among the masses right now.